Good evening, traders. Douglas here. Today, I'm going to show you something that I guarantee you have never seen from any other trader: how to actually profit from big bank manipulation. This isn't theory. This isn't, I think that the price broke through this level, so the banks manipulated the price so it went the other direction. I'm going to show you it actually happening in real time, and I'm going to lay out the evidence of it because I have one of the only indicators on the market that isn't useless. Okay? It's showing you actual real-time data from the institutions that you've never seen before. This is what I've been working on. It's why it's taken me so long to make another video. But I've seen this played out now multiple times. And now what we have to do is start actually trying to make money from it. That's the hard part. Okay. That's the hard part, because then that's where psychology comes in. But I'm going to show you the reality of this, and we're going to go through the entire day. So this is going to take a little bit of time, but I want you to see the manipulation play out throughout the entire day, because this takes some time. It's kind of like steering a cruise ship. Okay. So it doesn't turn on a dime. It takes its time to shift and turn slowly before you can get it going in the other direction. So I took 3 trades. One of them was a loser. I got in a little bit too early. And then the big one, the big manipulation, happens at the very end. So hold on to the end of this video, because you're not going to want to miss it. Let's get right into it. This is Bookmap. This is basically what is actually happening in the order book. This is live orders being placed, being executed, limit orders, market orders. This line up here is a heavy line of limit sellers, for instance. These blue bubbles are market buyers. These are the buys that actually executed. These red bubbles are the sellers that actually executed it, and this would be a line of buyers' limit orders. Now, the important thing that we're looking at is this blue line. Now, this is from Bookmap. I'll put a link to Bookmap in the description and below of this video. But this blue line is their MBO data bundle. Okay, it comes with stops, it comes with liquidity tracker and balance. But the thing that I've been focusing on is the iceberg tracker, iceberg orders. All right, we've never been able to see before. Iceberg orders are the privilege of the institutions. We don't have the ability, us retail traders, to place these type of orders. These are hidden orders in the book. So even though right here we see that there's 510 limit buyers here, there could be 1,000, there could be 2,000. We don't know, because the institutions get to hide their orders in the form of iceberg orders because they want to be able to conceal their real activity and what they're actually doing. Now, the great thing is the CME, the one that runs the futures market, like the ES and the CL, the oil market, and the S&P futures, has come out with market by order data, which means they're finally showing you the tracks of the big dogs. The only problem is there's only one data feed that does it. That's Rhythmic. That's the only one that's taken advantage of it. And there's only one platform that can read that data, and that's Bookmap. And it's not cheap. I'm sorry about that. But like I said, you can go check that out yourself. You can look at the prices. Maybe to you it's cheap. Maybe to you it's outrageous. That's all depends on your situation. But like I said, let's get right into what's happening. So this is the beginning of the day. 8:30 Central is the open for me. All right, so that's 9:30 Eastern. This blue line is a summation of the iceberg orders throughout the day. All right, so this is the cumulative data of the iceberg orders. And you can see that it was flat, and this makes sense that it was flat before the open. There's not a whole lot of institutional activity before the open. Now you can get a little bit, but it's usually not much. And then as soon as 8:30 happens, you see it take a dive. So institutions have jumped in. Now, I must warn you in advance that you have to be able to, unfortunately, read what their plan is. Just because this goes down doesn't mean you can hit the sell button all of a sudden, right? This is not an entry indicator. This lets you know what they're doing, but you don't know when they're going to be done, if that makes sense. So if they're loading up a position and you see these iceberg orders crashing down, 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 or up, 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 whatever direction it is, like I said, it's a cruise ship, okay? So you don't know if that's going to take them an hour, 30 minutes. You don't know if it's going to take them all day that they're loading up their positions. So you don't know exactly what their intent is, all right? So I don't want to lie to you and make you think that this is a holy grail of some sort, but it is data that not only have you never seen before, but nobody has seen this before, all right? Maybe the institutions get to see this, I'm sure they do, but no retail trader gets to see this. It's an outrageous opportunity for somebody smarter than me, we'll put it that way, all right? So you're not going to want to miss it. Let's hit play here because my first trade takes or gets executed rather early. And so I've got this on like 1,000,000 times speed. So this is flying through what actually happened in real time, right? But you can see, so we've got icebergs are crashing down from the open. So the institutions are selling off their positions. The market was going up, icebergs are going down. So they're taking profits. And that's what I was talking about earlier. They could be taking profits. They could be selling, so they could either be getting into positions by selling, or they could be exiting positions by taking profits. And that's going to determine the direction of the market. So like I said, just because this goes down doesn't mean you can sell, but I thought that we had a good situation. We had bounced up and bounced up and bounced up. So kind of looked like a little bit of range with this sell-off. This isn't a whole lot of data to go on, but I took a shot at it. I sold right here. And where is my target? Target is, I believe this is 8 points away down here. And it's going to take a minute to play out. And like I said, this video is going to take a little bit of time to get through because I want you to see the manipulation in as close to real time as possible. Obviously, I can't sit here for 6 hours with you guys, so I've got the market greatly sped up, but it's still, it's going to take more time than I would like it to. We'll just put it that way. But you can see from these red bubbles, there's really no danger from the buyers. You had the institutions selling off on their iceberg orders, okay? We got in thinking that we had an advantage there, and really all we've seen is sellers since then. We had a little bit of buying here, but then immediately turned back to sellers. So we're not really terrified about what's going on here because we believe, that we're on the right side of what the big dogs are doing. So we do get a scare here at this point in time. It came back. I've lost pretty much all my profits at that point. But like I said, we think that we're on the right side of history here. So we're just going to keep going with it. All right. So you see the sellers have taken back over again. There wasn't much going on for buyers, even though they did manage to move the price back up. But this is where I think that manipulation comes in. The institutions want to sell off. They've been selling off, but the price is not going to just go straight down with it. I mean, the whole point of them hiding their orders is they want time to get all of their orders filled. All right. So they wouldn't hide it otherwise. But if they just jumped in and dumped it all out in the open, everybody would freak out. They would all sell, and then price would move away from the institutions too quickly for them to fulfill their order. Okay, and then so they wouldn't get in at the price that they wanted to get in at, or they would cause chaos in the market. And so there is a reason, even they could even say a good reason for them to be able to hide their orders, if you want to look at it that way, because it has less impact on the market. But it's not exactly fair, is it? Okay, now this is the benefit of sim trading. It's really easy to sit through this kind of manipulation. And especially at this point, when they've started picking up the icebergs. Now you can see the clear turn of what's happened. They dumped out early at the open, and now they're picking up steam here, and they're buying up positions. So that's a real concern right now for my sell order that I had placed here. So there it goes. Sellers take over once again. Boom, boom, boom. And like I said, this is the benefit of testing these theories on sim, is that you get to ride out this stuff without any pain or concern of loss. You just get to let your trade go. You get to let it fully play out to its full extent. Now that's kind of a lesson that I've been learning, is I do better when I'm less concerned about my trade. Now that makes sense from a psychological standpoint, of course, but it's a hard lesson to learn. So we'll see if I can carry that over back into live trading, which I will start getting back into very shortly. It just would have been dumb to try it with this new theory. So, all right, so back to the manipulation. You see this massive shoot up. So we were down to a cumulative negative 400 icebergs. Now we're up to almost a positive 400. We're about 900 orders from the institution's difference here, from the low to the high. And the market hasn't done a whole lot yet. It's still fairly early. And for you chart traders, this is what this looks like. All right, so we sold in here. No, we sold in here. So we sold in here, and then it's been bouncing around, and then we've just seen this dip below the previous low, where it dips here, and then it runs up. And is that any surprise? I didn't catch that trade, but is it any surprise that it happened? Look how early the iceberg orders were gathering their buys. They've been gathering buys since at least 8:45, like a significant move from the low here to here. That's when the steam really picked up, was 8:45. As I said, it's not an entry indicator, so you couldn't just willy-nilly take that trade. But if you look here, when are you first going to get an indication that we're about to take a big run up on a candlestick chart? 8:45. So they start major buying here in the institution. They manipulate price down, manipulate it up, manipulate it down. They get all their fills of their buys that they want, and then it goes. So that's the hard part. You don't know when this manipulation is going to end. You don't know when they're going to be satisfied. But look at the warning you had in advance. I mean, how could you not read the difference between here and here before that market starts moving up? And now we've got quite a bit of time for this to play out before my next trade. So I think we're going to skip ahead. But I want to show you that we've got the icebergs kind of going sideways now. You know, the big accumulation of the institutions was finished, and after they finished, the market moved. Isn't that interesting? After they got all their fills, then it started moving. And now we keep moving because they got a lot of fills. So let's skip ahead. All right, so we've skipped ahead quite a bit. We're now we're past 11 Central. Just to rehash, we were back here earlier. We had taken that trade at 8:35, just after the open. Icebergs loaded up, sent this shooting up. We get sort of a stall out here, but guess what? The icebergs are moving up throughout that whole section there. So if we come over to, where is that? That's 937. If we come over to here, that's what this looks like right here. So price comes up and then it pulls back, manipulates some more so they can get some more fills, and then takes off once again. And again, the icebergs are moving up through that whole section. Okay, so there would be no reason for you at that point in time to be thinking that maybe that run is over and you should start selling. Just no reason. And then once we get up here, we've already started the downward sell-off. So they're taking all their profits. They had loaded up, price moved up, did what they wanted. Now they're taking their profits. They're getting out. Maybe they're even establishing new sell positions. I hope that makes sense, that that's what's going on. And remember, this is one of the only leading indicators I have ever seen that can give you advanced warning. So most indicators, let's take like the MACD is super popular. Their formulas are really based on nonsense. It's based on like candle closes, and this is the majority of indicators, okay? It's based on, I'm just speaking generally, not specifically the MACD, but their formulas are based on like past data of candle closes, as if that has anything to do with the market. It has nothing to do with the market, okay? If you're looking at this and you see that the institutions have been selling off their positions well in advance of the market making any kind of movement, how big of an advantage could that be? And then you can add in, if you like things like MACD or whatever, then you can add that in on top of real information, okay? And this is real. All right, so this is quite a bit of time that this happened. So that's about an hour, we're getting into an hour and 30 minutes of sell-off at this point in time, and the market hasn't really moved. We'll zoom in a little bit. This is when I get in, okay? So I see what has happened. I see that they have dumped. They've taken their profits and they've dumped. And so I get in right here, trying to take advantage of this. And if we come over here, it's somewhere in here that I've taken my sell attempt, okay? And also, if you don't have this information, then all you see is that the market's moved sideways and you think that we're stuck in a range and there's nothing happening. But there is something happening. There's something major going on, right? There's something major going on. The institutions are dumping out their positions. Now, when this big sell comes in, I think that I'm pretty golden at this point. I'm fairly happy with the sell that I've taken. But as you're going to see, I told you earlier, this is not an entry indicator. This is just valuable information. I end up getting beat on this trade because they weren't done. They weren't done when I got in. And they're still selling off. They're still selling off. There's no indication at this point in time that the bigger players are interested in whatsoever in taking this market long. So I see this big sell. I think, oh, okay, that's it. I'm gonna at least get my 7 points here. I think I moved it to 10 points at that point in time. Now remember, I had secured 8 points earlier on the early trade. This one I lose, I believe, 4 points on because I moved my stop a lot tighter. I had this sort of section of sellers here, and I thought that they would back me up, especially after this big seller here. And I figured, if they get beat, then I'm wrong. Okay, so that's why I moved that stop position down and went for a longer target. And then at this point, it's pretty obvious that I'm probably going to get beat, and then I certainly do. And so in real time, I was looking at this and thinking, man, what happened to me? This market just totally dumped. They totally sold off. We were going sideways. Didn't look like there was any energy to go up. What happened to me? And then I got to thinking, oh yeah, it's the big cruise ship. It takes a lot of time to move it. They may not be done doing what they want to do. And it totally makes sense that they would run it up one last time. I mean, how many times have you seen that where the market gets to a certain point of resistance, you take your trade, it goes against you enough for your stops, and then moves in your direction that you thought it was going to go for a big move? You know, how many times have you seen that and you don't really know why? I mean, you think you know why. You think, well, I got manipulated, the banks were making a move, but now you know exactly why. Like, there's no question. There's no question that that's what happened here. So they push up. I get back in. That's what this blue dot is. I say, I'm going to take another shot at this. It just seems too good of an opportunity. And I'm convinced at this point in time that they ran this up for stops above this previous high. And that I just got unlucky with my entry. I just got in too quickly. And so what this looks like now, this is the previous high. What this looks like now, I got short here. So it even runs up a little bit more, but my stop was far enough away. And then this is what's going to happen, just to spoil the fun. This is what's going to happen, and that's huge. That's a huge move. It's huge. 32.24. You know, we're past 20 points, 30 points, 40 points, 50 points. Points, not ticks, points. All right. So I'm in the trade. Here's that last top that I showed you. Got my stops well out. I've actually placed 2 trades here, or 2 contracts, because I was pretty confident in what was going to happen. Of course, I could have got manipulated right out of it again, because who knows, you know, when the crazy train's going to stop. But again, if I can get this zoomed out far enough, look at that. I mean, it's huge. So there's no real warning sign that they have dumped and now they're going to jump back in, anything like that. I mean, you got this tiny move up here, but from the top, that's 982 cumulative icebergs down to negative 814. So we're getting around 2,000 sell orders from the institutions that nobody knows about. 2,000 of them that nobody could see before the MBO data and then this indicator came out. 2,000 sells that you would have been unaware of. I mean, do you see the point that I'm getting at? And so we come down. This is 7 points here is my first target. It looks short because of how zoomed out I am, but that's 7 points. And you see what happens. It goes down 50 points. I end up taking, what did I take? The first one was 7. That's 14. So that's 17 points. I ended up taking like 25 points out of this. Again, super easy to sit through it on sim. So we'll see what happens with my psychology. That's the hard part. We'll see what happens with my psychology once we get live. But I've never been more excited about a strategy, being able to take advantage of bigger moves instead of scalping out for 1 to 2 ticks and having my heart pound while I do it. You know what I mean? And so now we really start the dump. You can see these big sells that have come in. And I'll let this play out till we hit that, till we hit this target. But you already know what's going to happen because I spoiled it for you. But again, it comes back. You know, it starts bouncing around a little bit. And let's zoom in a little bit here so you can get a better idea of what's going on. You know, when you're too zoomed in, you can't really see the big picture of the icebergs, but I just wanted you to see, you know, how the market comes back here and there and gets them a little bit more fills and then just keeps dumping out. And I can't remember if this runs back a little bit. I know that some guys pop in here. Yeah, I see those highlights. So, and I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if those are more, sellers that, I mean, those are buy orders, but sometimes they just want to get filled. They know the market's going down and they want to get filled at that price, even though the market will go against them for a little bit. So I don't know if that's what's happening there or if it really is buyers thinking that you've run down far enough and now they're trying to push it up. So you get a little battle that goes on. But nothing in the way of the icebergs that have really told you anything. I mean, we had moved down 2,000 and now we've moved up 400. I mean, that's not a big deal. And it's starting to move down once again. And so we hit a little technical difficulty there. It's a great place to stop. But you can see that the market came back just a little bit, and then it does punch through for my, what were we talking about a 25 point move, and then it moves down 25 more points. At this point in time, the icebergs are starting to move up a decent amount, so they are taking profits is what I think. I don't think at this point that they're loading up buy orders. I think they're simply taking profits. And so you always have to remember those little psychological aspects that go into it. You know, for the fourth or fifth time, not an entry indicator, just fantastic information that no one else in the market is using. So if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Please like this video. I need your help to spread it. I think this is a fantastic strategy that nobody else is talking about. So that's it. Thanks, guys. I'm out.